My real question, what is it about the supernatural in your first book, Time Travel, in Time Traveler's Wife, Time Travel, and this book, Ghosts, that lets you explore the themes you want to explore in a different or a better way than if they weren't there?
That's a good way to put it.
Thank you.
I've been attracted my whole life to reading things in which the setting is everyday normal reality, but one thing has been changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about, Twilight Zone, for example. Over and over again, they do that thing. It's the ordinary world, but there's this little kid who can think you into the cornfield or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like a thought experiment. You just change that one thing, and then everything else changes accordingly, and you get to see how people would behave. And in the case of Time Traveler's Wife, I rapidly realized that if time travel was true and was happening to this guy, it would have this huge effect on his marriage. I mean, you notice in my books that nobody outside of the immediate situation ever finds out about it. Like CNN does not appear with, the microphone to ask, Henry what it's like to be a time traveler.
It's a world apart from 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm just not interested in that. What I'm interested in is the domestic implications of ghosts, time travel, all that kind of thing.
Well, you do have a character in this new novel who you mentioned does not show up on the internet. She doesn't have email,
yeah.
and is you're, of course, you're all over the internet because of your success and because you've got a website.
Oops.
But do you ever wish that you could go back or live in a world where you weren't on the internet?
Yeah, totally. What I wish is that it would be like Through the Looking Glass, where when you wanted to go and make a production out of yourself, you could go do that. And then when you were feeling a little more self-effacing, you could just go disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Well, we'll get this video up on YouTube.
Yeah. I just feel a little weird about this, but, it's fun.
We're having a good time. This is okay.
I just always feel slightly strange because I'm a somewhat reticent person, and so it's always a little bit peculiar seeming to me. But,
Why?
I don't know, it's funny, because some people really, you can often, I'm sure you have this experience all the time, where you put somebody here on the couch and they just kind of expand,
There are some people who I don't have to say a word, and I just go backstage and drink.
See, if it were me and you went backstage and drank, I would go backstage and drink with you. And then, maybe we could have some more music or something.
You've got on your website, you have a line, and I have it somewhere in here, where you say basically that you're answering the question, what kind of books do you like? And you say kind of quirky, kind of odd, very odd books. Is it a surprise to you, given that odd books probably usually stay kind of on the edges, they don't do that well, that your book, The Time Traveler's Wife, and now this book, have done so well, and that so many people have found something in it that they really love?
Yeah, it's a mystery to me. I mean, you guys could probably solve that better than I can. I mean, the email I get is pretty eye-opening. I think it appeals to a lot of people. The first book does, because so many people have that experience of being far away from the person they love, or they got separated somehow and it didn't work out. I get a lot of email from military people, just because that's their experience. They're far away from their family. I also get I've gotten 5 or 6 of these where people email me and say, my friend, my father, somebody is dying and we've been reading your book. I'm like, great. And in a way that's like, in some bizarre way, the ultimate compliment that, you have limited time and what are you going to read? Well, we're going to read this whacked out book about a guy who time travels. But anyway, it does seem to tap into something about people's relationships and separation and togetherness and kind of the uncertainty of everything that seems to be powerful.
You've also said that both Time Travelers and this book are about memory.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, particularly in the case of Time Traveler, because the time travel works almost like memory. Like time travel, memory is kind of intermittent, memory is capricious, memory doesn't always come when you need it to, and I was consciously trying to make it feel like that so that people would feel that the time travel was familiar, although presumably not too many people are doing that. But in the new book, the first thing that happens is that Elspeth, the woman who's going to end up as the ghost, in the first sentence, Elspeth dies. And her lover, Robert, is not present when that happens, but he comes in immediately afterward. And so the book kind of takes up where Time Traveler leaves off.
Mm-hmm.
Someone loses their lover. And this book, in a way, is like Time Traveler kind of turned inside out. So Robert will get Elspeth back, but not in the way that he wants. And all these unintended consequences will happen, and it's all because people try to hang on. Like, they won't let go when they should. They hang on to things they shouldn't, and everything goes wrong because people don't just accept that time passes and things change. So the characters that do really well in Fearful Symmetry are the characters who are generous and who kind of accept normal life, and the characters who are trying to change the natural order of things get completely wigged out and have unfortunate things.
They really do.
They do. Yeah, and part of it is because I was trying to write a kind of 19th century novel that's set in the 21st century, and if you go back and read your George Eliot and your Wilkie Collins and Henry James, everybody gets what they deserve. And in a way, modernism is the slow encroachment of people not getting what they deserve. Mm-hmm. And when you make that turn in the history of fiction, things start to take a completely different. They feel differently all of a sudden. But this is a throwback. And
so you prefer when they get what they deserve?
Just this once. It was, and it's funny because I get a certain amount of email from people freaking about the ending.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know, go back and read it again. You didn't get it.
Damn. Audrey Niffenegger throwing it down on you.
Yeah, well, that's my professor persona coming in there, where you're just like, okay, well, let's go over that again.
There's questions in the back of the paperback of Time Travelers, like reading book questions.
I know. I didn't make them up. It's to signal to the reading groups that it's okay. This isn't one of those weird, quirky books. It's a reading group book. When Margaret said, "Yeah, we're gonna put questions in the back," and I was just like, "No." I couldn't believe it, but it's
Wait
okay.
till there's Cliff Notes.
What?
No, wait till there is. Wait till there is. Wait till there is.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I hope that never happens. Yeah. But if I can hardly imagine what that will be like, though, like opening the black and yellow book and seeing super simplistic questions about my imaginary people. I mean, I wonder, like if Dostoevsky or Tolstoy could come back, and like sit in on a class on one of their books, what would they think?
They might say, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what's next? You got a graphic novel that appeared in a London newspaper coming out in print.
Yeah, that's gonna come out in about a year. We're just starting to tweak it. I have terrible computer skills, and so the nice people at Abrams are helping me make it look more slick.
Okay.
So anyway, we're doing that. I have a show next September at Printworks for which I have made no art whatsoever. I feel like a bad student, so I have to get busy and make some art.
Okay.
And I have slowly started working on a book which is called The Chinchilla Girl in Exile. It is about a 9-year-old girl who is, she has this thing called hypertrichosis, which is also a real thing, and it means that you're covered with hair. So think, Jojo the dog-faced boy. as a 9-year-old girl. And she lives in Skokie, and it's about her. So that's really good. I like that Skokie is funny, because I kind of grew up there.
This crowd is anti-Semitic.
No, they're just ever so slightly drunk.
Well, Audrey, thank you very much.
Fearful Symmetry.